responsibility.
Finishing this fight.
Hello and welcome into the Lore Council. This is Kay, joined along with Keith.
Hey guys, howdy.
Howdy, howdy, howdy indeed. And today we are going to be tackling the third MCU Spider-Man film, Spider-Man No Way Home, which I believe is the first Spider-Man presence on this channel. So, yeah, obviously this movie's been out for about a month, and so we are going to eschew with any kind of spoiler-free discussion other than I really, really liked it.
Wait, so no spoilers?
Oh,
or...
that's all I was giving for like a spoiler-free anything. Everything from here on is
Okay, gotcha.
yeah, spoiler-filled.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I really, really loved it. I really loved the MCU's Spider-Man trilogy as a whole, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go in the future.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty okay, like the first time I saw it, and then I rewatched it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it's pretty good. For me, sometimes if I'm watching a movie and I have like a kind of a bad experience while watching it that like distracts me, then I'll kind of think the movie sucks at the same time. So for me, best option for watching any movie is just be by myself, no distractions, because it completely breaks my immersion in the movie. And yeah, Spider-Man, what is it? No Way Home?
No Way Home.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Definitely an interesting Marvel movie that doesn't really feel like a Marvel movie, at least as far as like the way its like plot is arranged. You know, you're telling me it feels very much like a comic book plot, and we could probably just summarize the plot in a few sentences. Spider-Man, everyone at the beginning of the movie, everyone knows who Spider-Man is. He's Peter Parker, and that starts messing up stuff for him and all his friends. So he's like, "Yo, Doctor Strange, do some magic to like make everyone forget my name." Oh wait, but except my friends. And then the spell messes up, and basically everyone who knows like that Peter Parker is Spider-Man gets like sucked in from other universes, villains, heroes, and stuff like that. And yeah, it just leads to some Spider-Man madness.
Yeah, Spider madness, if you will. And yeah, from there we get Spider-Man doing Spider-Man things. He obviously fights the villains, and to kind of split, he first encounters Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2, and we get the first of many scenes that the oh god, what's the proper term for it? Mouth breathers in my theater just like absolutely went like monkey mode for. I could have done without it. This is the first time I've ever encountered like a really stupid theater like that where people are actively like cheering and clapping, and for me that is just absolutely took me out of the film every time it happened. It happened at basically every big point. When Doc Ock showed up, when Green Goblin showed up, when Sandman showed up later, when all the villains showed up, it was, oh my god, yay, wow, as if we didn't see this in like the trailers, wow.
Yeah, that kind of comes with the territory with the big movie premieres. That's one of those things. I think I'd be fine with that if I was in a theater. It's kind of fun, but I guess if you're just in the mood to like you just want to watch the movie, I guess that could be distracting.
Yeah, it was I found it to be rather annoying. Obviously, I paid money to watch the movie and hear the movie, not hear people, from Reddit, clapping their hands. Was
it that loud?
Oh, yeah, no, literally. Like, there were parts where they'd be... Something would happen, say... obviously, we put a no spoilers from here on out, rather, at the beginning. So when Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man showed up, like everybody was clapping, and the first couple lines of dialogue after that, like when he comes through the portal and stuff, I straight up like missed.
Yep.
Granted, like obviously it's very simple what they're talking about and everything, but I really did not like that. That took me out of it, but that has nothing to do with the movie. It's more of a weird culture thing that shifted in like the last 10 years.
I don't know. I mean, I remember going to Spider-Man 3 and, the audience was pretty pumped.
Yeah,
there was cheering
I didn't,
parts and
like that. Yeah, as far as midnight premieres, I've only been to two or first day premieres. I went to Revenge of the Sith. Didn't remember anyone hooting or hollering or yelling, and I also went to Spider-Man 3, and no hooting and hollering and clapping and yelling and everything. So.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there was cheering during that big battle sequence, which is kind of interesting. But we'll bring up Spider-Man 3 later.
Yeah.
Right now, let's talk about that first awesome, epic action scene with Doc Ock versus, Spider-Man, or Tom Holland, Peter Parker, basically.
Yeah, no, it's great. It happens on a bridge. I love scenes where Spider-Man has to fight the villain and also like rescue bystanders.
Yeah, and especially seeing it in the theater was like super just like brutal because like I don't know, every sound, every like crunch and hit just felt like whoa, like it was, like it just felt really impactful. The fighting between them. Yeah,
it was great. They didn't do a lot of like super quick cuts, and like they let everything kind of like let it breathe to where like it's not like, oh, Spider-Man punches Doc Ock, cut. Doc Ock smacks something with a tentacle, cut. Like they let everything like kind of be seen. So.
Oh yeah, this is definitely not, Black Panther. You're gonna have like a CGI Rhino or whatever. Like, nah, this is like full budget Marvel movie. Full on awesome special effects.
Oh yeah, no, it was great. And eventually, Green Goblin shows up, and right at that moment, we find out that. This is where we find out in the movie that there are other villains who have been pulled through that knew who they were, and basically Doctor Strange tasks Peter and his friends to Scooby-Doo this crap. Mm-hmm. Which was a line I didn't get until like thinking about it later, because it's like, oh, they're a group of kids who are going to solve a mystery and put the people in jail basically. So
the line was specifically Scooby-Doo this shit.
Scooby-Doo this shit. Yeah, sorry.
And then he said it like twice, but like, it's fine. Oh yeah. Crap, what's her name? Well, MJ, she gets a little. She's like, why don't you say please, Doctor Strange? You're like, please, Scooby-Doo this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked MJ a lot more as Zendaya. I liked her so much more in this movie.
Yeah, she's definitely a bit more lively, and I'm just assuming when they wrote it, they wanted to move her away from being like the brooding, kind of friend.
Yeah.
Whereas now,
I think she was funnier in Homecoming when she was all broody, but now I'm fine with her just being like normal, quirky GF.
Yeah, like I think that the main trio of Peter, Ned, and MJ, I think they did a super good job. Like the three actors obviously have like super good chemistry when it comes to working with each other.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job.
Yeah. So the first people we get to do, we have a fun little fight between Spider-Man, Electro, and Sandman, who only ever appears as Sand Monster Sandman, never as like human Sandman.
He never like solidifies to like look human.
Yeah, they do it at the end, but they just reused a shot from Spider-Man 3. And they did the same thing. Yeah, they did the same thing with Lizard. They only ever use when he's not the Lizard. It's from I think Amazing Spider-Man, and they just did that because those two actors, just because of COVID, they couldn't make it for filming. So they just used CGI, and they obviously like recorded like new voice lines and everything. But you can obviously do that from like the comfort of your own home. So
yeah, Electro fight was really cool. The lightning was just so like bright and like just whoa on screen, very shocking if you'll pardon the pun.
Oh yeah, it looked super cool. I thought Electro looked really cool. I think
Sandman was cool.
Yeah, Sandman was cool.
He was like in a giant like tornado form and he's like still talking to Peter.
Oh yeah, I really like that, and it just comes across as like a normal like speaking voice. Hey, please hurry up.
A lot of the sequences in this movie would not feel out of place in a comic book. Like a just giant tornado Sandman covering Electro, his face talking. You can almost imagine the picture, right?
Yeah, no, it's great. I think this was like a perfect like. It felt like a comic book the whole time, which sometimes MCU movies feel more like a Mission Impossible like action movie more than they do like a comic book. So. Yeah,
like well, basically like a Joss Whedon action movie, pretty much.
Oh yeah, Joss Whedon action movie. That would have been a better way to put it. But yeah, from here we have a little scene where Norman reclaims like his Normanness his good guy Normanness from the Goblin.
Yeah, a little weird, but okay. So yeah, I guess Norman. They never showed this in the original movies, I think. Like maybe once or twice where we see Norman like talking to the Goblin, but I felt like most of the time their goals are pretty aligned. But I guess Goblin was like he's like an alternate personality that was just completely taking over Norman. So they weren't aligned at all.
Yeah.
So Norman was still a good guy.
Yeah, there's like the inner like meek, goofy business Norman, I guess. And I don't necessarily it's that he's meek. I think it's just that he's like realized, oh, I've done all this bad stuff and now I don't want to be evil. But the mind goblin. But yeah, from there he ends up at a feast building where Aunt May works, and he kind of like does his nice guy stuff, and and then Peter Parker shows up, and then we get another wait a minute, you're not Peter Parker kind of thing, which we get several times in the movie.
Yeah, and basically, like they're trying to figure out what to do with Norman. Peter's like, well, I gotta send him back home, and she's like, he's lost in his mind.
Yeah,
I like that line. He's lost in his mind. It's over the top. But they basically decide, hey, we gotta save all these superheroes, and this is the point in the movie where Peter's like, okay, so instead of capturing all these guys and just sending them back to their universe, because they also in a kind of contrived way find out they're all gonna die when they go back to their universe, like they were all about to die. They were all like taken away like right before the moment of their death. Very convenient.
Yeah,
and so like let's fix them before sending them back, and that'll do something.
I think the reason that they come back like when they're near like their going to die-ness is because that's typically in the movies when they would find out who Peter Parker is. Like,
that's actually
like, yeah, it's usually like at the end of the film. Like obviously Dr. Octopus doesn't find out until the end. Obviously Green Goblin finds out like halfway through the movie, but
but to be fair, in Spider-Man 2, by the time he finds out that Spider-Man is Peter, he's already knocked on his ass, and he's like, Peter, brilliant but lazy.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, from there we get because originally, Peter Parker just wants to send him back through the portal to their universes because that's just the easiest solution. But then Aunt May kind of steps in and is like, no, you're the superhero in this comic book story. Yep. You have to do the
right thing.
Yeah. And it works really well.
Doctor Strange is like, no.
Yeah, but Doctor Strange isn't doing it from like it's easy or, it's like, oh, like I want them to die. It's just he being the character he is like, basically
he thinks it's the right thing to do as well. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's, restoring the universes back to normal, essentially. Yeah. Which is a very Doctor Strange thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it works really well. I will mention Benedict Cumberbatch, as always, super great actor.
Yeah, written a little bit more jokey in this one, but still very good. Definitely prefer him in his own movie, like the standalone Doctor Strange movie. But
I love this standalone Doctor Strange movie. I'm very excited for Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, we'll see about that one.
Yeah, but anyways, from here we get a cool little scene where Peter sneaks them all into the Happy's condo or apartment or whatever where they're staying. And we get the fun little scene where we get to see them all go through on the security camera, and obviously they leave the lizard in the big van because that's a giant like dinosaur, basically a little dinosaur trying to walk through. And we get a cool scene where all the scientists, all the smart nerds, they get to band together. So Peter, Doc Ock, and Norman Osborn, who of course says the totally iconic line, "I'm something of a scientist myself." Which made all the dweebs in my theater very happy. It made me very happy, but seeing them happy made me unhappy, or hearing them unhappy rather.
It's a paradox.
It is. It's very paradoxical. But yeah, we get a cool scene where they use some Stark tech that Happy has just in his apartment because
fabricator because he can make shit.
Yeah, he probably made himself a stove or something because God knows those are expensive.
Yeah, I did like this part. Peter basically figures out that the reason Doc Ock is crazy is because his inhibitor chip shorted out. She's like, okay, let's just build a new one. or not build a new one, but build like some new one to like go on top
override
of it.
the other one, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they come up with a serum for Norman that will make him sane. They give Electro a machine that's just gonna like essentially suck the electroness out of him.
Yeah, make him like a normal dude.
Yeah,
and
he'll just
nobody had a plan for Sandman.
Yeah, it'll make him man rather than Sandman.
But at least at this point, they weren't really doing anything for Sandman. I think they do it later, but
yeah, I think at this point, yeah, they were going to, but obviously at that point, Sandman is also like, oh, I'm good guy Sandman from the end of Spider-Man 3.
Right.
Yeah, so he's like happy to go along with it, and then Lizard.
I just want to see my daughter.
Yeah, and then Lizard, he's out in the van still because again, he's a giant lizard, but I'm sure they would have gotten around to him.
He's twiddling his giant lizard thumbs.
Yes, which I don't think lizards have thumbs, but yeah, the lizard has thumbs, but I don't think lizards have thumbs.
No, but he does have lizard thumbs.
He does have lizard thumbs, yes. But yeah, so from there, everything's going great, and we have this super awesome scene. So after Norman, or not Norman, after Doc Ock gets cured, there's this cool scene where he puts the new spider symbol onto Peter's chest from the nanotech that was on his Octo Arms. I really like that suit. I think MCU Spider-Man has always been very drippy. He's always had some pretty dope suits. And I think the black and gold suit looks really, really cool. And then especially with what happens later, it helps to differentiate him from the other two Spider-Men as well. So you can kind of see who's who when they're swinging.
Right.
Yeah, so it looks really cool, obviously.
I thought you were going to talk about the scene where like he gets like spider sense and he's just looking around for the danger.
Oh no, that also is a great scene, which basically happens next. And yeah, as it happens like perfectly because we have Electro's machine that's fixing him. It like every time it gets like a charge or whatever, it beeps.
Yeah, it's like counting down.
Yeah, it's like counting down, and it's like all like quiet, and then Peter gets like this like oh shit look on his face, and he's looking around.
Yeah, and really good directing there. It's like just a shot of Peter's face that just like holds on him.
Yeah,
everything else is
and then
all blurry.
The only other thing you hear is like the beep from Electro,
and like white noise.
Yeah, and it's super tense. Like I was like literally like hands gripping the seat. I'm like, what's gonna happen?
I knew what was gonna happen.
I had a feeling it was either going to be what happened or Electro was just gonna be like, no, JK, LOL. But no,
what does happen?
Yeah.
How can I say it?
Oh yeah.
Peter just splooshes Norman's hand onto a lamp, and he's like, "Oh, you're a bad guy now. You're not Norman. You're Gobby."
Oh no, it's awesome. Willem Dafoe, he's just like he's such a good actor, especially in this. Whenever he's Green Goblin, like his Green Goblin voice is very different than like his Norman voice. It's like super gravelly, and
he got right back into it.
Oh yeah, it's
like
super cool. He has like a almost like blank expression on his face, and I don't know why he just looked sweaty.
Yeah, they probably have like a guy off on the side with like a spray bottle or something,
misting him, and he's like, "Oh, the line is great." I've actually started like quoting it at work, much to the chagrin of my coworkers. It's just, "That's some neat trick, that sense of yours." And Doc Ock is just like, Norman's on sabbatical, honey." Oh, it's amazing. I love it.
Norman's on sabbatical, honey.
Oh, just the way he says it, it's just great. Like he sounds like a crazy person.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, from there
we get the badass, epic, awesome fight scene.
Yeah, so obviously, Norman gives a little villain pep talk to Electro and Sandman, and Electro ends up not following through, and then Sandman decides now he's going to be evil again because it's a comic book. Who cares?
Yeah, Electro uses like electric telekinesis to just rip the arc reactor from the fabricator thing.
Yep, and then that's obviously going to make him even more buff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
and then Sandman is just like Pission.
Yeah,
and he just fades out.
Yep, and then the lizard breaks out right in front of like J. Jonah Jameson, and he goes off to do lizard things, go sunbathe on a rock, maybe. And
sure.
And yeah, we have a like just absolutely like knockdown, drag out fight between Green Goblin and Spider-Man. It's really cool.
Yeah.
There's like a great scene where Spider-Man's
Very
up on...
brutal. Very brutal.
Yeah, and again...
It's just as brutal, maybe even more brutal than that fight at the end of Spider-Man 1.
Yeah, it works out super awesome. There's
They're knocking each other through ceilings and walls and shit.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts of it is Spider-Man's up on Goblin's like shoulders, and he's basically like straddling his face, and he's just like punching him in the face, and Norman's just like looking up with like a crazed expression on his face, and then he fucking like power bombs him through like 3 floors, and then he smashes him through some more floors later. It was awesome, and the way the camera moves with it was really cool. And then eventually they get down. They're down on like the ground level, and previously before Goblined out, like Peter told Aunt May to run away, and he did, and then they end up getting caught up down there fighting as Aunt May's trying to escape, and Goblin does the evil...
She wasn't trying to escape, she was like... She had something in her hand, like she took something. Oh no,
because originally she was trying to get out of like the apartment complex.
Well, I think she took Norman's green juice with her, and she's like running down the stairs this whole time, and then by the time it's like showing this as the fight's happening, and she gets down to like the main floor at the exact time that Peter and Norman like crash through the ceiling into there. Like, a little contrived, but it's fine.
Yeah, and
then she sticks Norman with the the cure juice, and he's like, it didn't work.
Yeah. And, from there, he throws some pumpkin bombs and does some bad guy stuff, and, Aunt May...
You get to see his new cool outfit. It's kind of like hobgoblin-y.
Yeah, it's... Yeah, cool. Kind of hobgoblin-y. He's got, like, some kind of, like, tattered stuff on him. He looks like a crazy man. No more
he's got,
goofy
like, the goblin armor
mask.
underneath, within, like, the hood and everything.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I think it looks a lot cooler than the goblin mask, in my opinion, but that was never my biggest vibe from the first movie.
I like the mask, but they probably just did that. Yeah, he probably like stipulated that in his contract or whatever. Like, I don't want to have to wear the mask for the whole fucking movie. So they're like, okay, we'll just
actually
write it in there.
I read a thing to where it was a decision on his and I think the director's part to not have it because I guess there was like a sizable chunk of people who watched the first one that didn't like the mask. So. Yeah, they just went with a, I guess, semi-popular opinion. I guess I'd never have looked into if people liked the mask or not, but yeah.
For me, it's super iconic, but that's just because that was one of those movies I watched a shitload as a kid.
Oh yeah, for sure. And yeah, from there we have Peter decide. Well, obviously his aunt dies, and so he goes to like sulk. She gives him the great power, great responsibility line.
Well, she does that before she dies.
Well, yeah, she does that before
she even starts like seeming like they're dying. Yeah, when I was watching that scene, I was like everything was all blown up, and they were just kind of standing there, and like the camera just kind of holds on them for an extra second or two, and I'm like, what's going on here? Why haven't we cut to something else yet? And then she's like talking, and they're like talking about stuff, and Peter's like, it's all my fault. It's all my fault. She's like, no, you did the right thing. With great power comes great responsibility. And then she just suddenly collapses because she was more injured than she looked. And it's a very that scene was just so like. Wow, like it was just wow. Like Tom Holland can like really act.
Oh yeah, it was just like absolutely heart-wrenching, and then he has to like just like leave her and run away because obviously like the police have shown up.
They know like he the Spidey.
Yeah, yep. And from there basically we cut back over to Ned and
sad montage,
and then we get Ned and MJ who to basically cut it short, like they're trying to like find Peter, and so Ned has a sling ring that he got from Doctor Strange, and he's like, find Peter Parker, and whoa, it's Andrew Garfield, he's Peter Parker.
Yeah, I like that whole scene.
Yeah, it was really fun.
It was kind of dumb. Like, he just kind of like accidentally figures out how to use the sling ring, and then it like opens up on the other ones. But yeah, it's fine. We get some Andrew Garfield gets introduced, and he just does a great job. He's really funny. Shortly after that, Tobey Maguire Peter Parker is introduced, who is also fantastic.
Yeah, I think he did a lot better job here. I'm assuming he's just like matured as an actor and is having different material. I think he was a lot better in this one. In his he still had that kind of awkward mannerisms of like 2002 Peter Parker, but in like a more grown-up way, if that made sense.
No, yeah, he's very charming.
It was charming. He had a really bad haircut, though, I thought, but that's just me. But yeah, it was really fun. We get a cool scene where like the two older Spider-Men like meet and they like shoot webs at each other and they both dodge them.
Yeah, they stare down each other and do like a quick draw thing.
Yeah, and they both miss.
Peter knows how to. Peter went for his web shooter for some reason.
Yeah.
How did he know that?
It's
okay,
just,
I keep calling Tobey Maguire Peter. This is gonna get confusing.
Yeah. Peter.
Call him Andrew, Toby, Tom. Yeah. There we go.
Peter 1, Peter 2, Peter 3. But yeah, so from there they kind of go. The two other.
Oh yeah. They're like, where does Tom Peter go when he's sad? I like the fan service there. You know, Toby Peter is like, I like to go to the
Empire State Building.
No, he goes to the Chrysler Building.
The Chrysler Building, yeah, because Andrew Garfield Peter goes to the Empire State Building.
Yeah, and it was like, it's a great view. Yeah, really, really fun stuff.
Yeah.
But then we get an amazing scene, which I missed the first time I watched it because I went to the bathroom like an idiot.
Oh, no, you fool. You go to the bathroom during movies?
Yeah, if I drink soda, I do.
Oh, gotcha.
Gets me every time.
Nice.
We get an amazing scene where they find Peter in his little safe place, and Ned and MJ just embrace Peter, and he just starts crying, and it's this really, really nice scene. Like, wow, like, it's really touching, and Andrew and Toby show up like on top of the building, and they're like all looking all cool and pose, and they jump down like, hey, we're Peter too, or whatever.
Hey, we also have deep-rooted emotional issues. And
really good stuff. Everyone gets like a really great opportunity to like emote and just do all this great like acting, and like it's really good writing. Like Andrew's like telling all this stuff about like, you know, like how he regretted losing Gwen. Peter's like, I lost my Uncle Ben. And then they all share this thing where like, Tom Peter mentions that the last thing his aunt said was, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. And then, Toby and Andrew are like, what?
Whoa! Oh my god!
That's what Uncle Ben said.
Whoa.
Tom's just like, who's Uncle Ben?
No. Yeah. So
did he have an Uncle Ben, or what happened?
Yeah,
there?
they do. It's just, I think, just to differentiate, they left like little like Easter eggs towards Uncle Ben in, but they never like explicitly referenced it. I assume it's just to like differentiate themselves. But he was in it, and he was killed in Spider-Man: Homecoming. Peter mentions all the stuff that May's already had to go through recently. And then
so that already happened.
Yeah, and then in No Way Home, or Far From Home, excuse me, Uncle Ben's initials are on Peter's backpack, or his duffel bag or whatever. So yeah, Uncle Ben existed and was murked, but I think it's just something they've chosen not to focus on since we've already seen it 2 times in film.
And he did not get to do his great power speech.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oof.
That's fine. We don't need to see Uncle Ben die again. It's like seeing Batman's parents die. Like, we've seen it, like, ad nauseum.
Yeah, then there's another really great line. Tom Peter is like, I feel like she died for nothing. And when he mentions the power and responsibility thing, Peter's like, well, then she didn't die for nothing. She taught you a lesson. Yeah,
and it works really good. And then they decide to go nerd trifecta.
Nerdtage.
Nerd montage. And then, basically they're in the science lab of the school because they were on top of the school. So they break in illegally because Spider-Man is a menace, obviously.
Spider-Man is a menace.
Spider-Man caught breaking into high school science lab and stealing stuff.
Spider-Man caught pulling cookies out of a cookie jar.
Spider-Man caught jaywalking. But yeah, they have
Spider-Man caught smoking in a non-smoking area of a restaurant.
Well, that one would actually be offensive.
So like a whole montage of them all just kind of working on cures and stuff, and then we get some just more great character interaction.
Yeah, it's really fun. And then the only one I didn't think landed was when they obvious fact, and I knew they were going to do it as soon as I saw that Toby was in the film. And I was like, they're going to have a lame Tumblr conversation about how Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man doesn't have web shooters.
Oh.
I did not like that one.
Oh, no, I like that scene.
It was okay, but I wish it was better, I think. Because obviously, yeah, because Ned he goes over to Andrew Peter and he's like, oh, here, have some more web fluid for your web shooters. And Andrew's like, oh, okay, cool. And then he goes to give it to Tobey Maguire and he's like, what? And and he basically just explains that he makes his own web, and yeah, it's. I didn't think it was that funny.
Yeah, he's like surprised, like, you guys don't do that.
Yeah. But yeah, so now they have all the cures all done, and then they go to the Statue of Liberty, which is they're basically adding like a Captain. It's like the statue of Captain America Liberty. Basically, they're adding like a Captain America shield to it and stuff. So it's under construction and is going to be the perfect vessel for a web swinging fight.
Yeah, not sure why they're putting a giant Captain America shield in front of the thing, but okay.
Yeah, because America loves Captain America.
Where is this? Is this like post or pre Captain and the Winter Soldier?
I'm not sure, but I think it's the Steve Rogers like World War II shield. I'm pretty sure, so I think they're doing it for like Steve Rogers Captain America.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get a fight scene that's very reminiscent of the Spider-Man 3 ending fight scene.
Yeah, it was really cool. It's like in a construction site. It's really fun. We have like a couple other nice little like things. In order to get the villains there, Peter Parker basically goes on like the Daily Bugle like podcast or web show or whatever it is, and he's like, "Hey, villains, frick you! I'm gonna be at the Statue of Liberty. Be there or be square." And yeah, he just does like the thing where like the villains get like called out and they're like, "Well, I'm a villain," and he said he's gonna be there, and he like shows off like the thing that's like keeping him in, and he's like, "If you don't show up, I'm gonna send you back to your universe and you're gonna die." And then they have a couple little fun scenes. There's one where obviously it's referencing Spider-Man 2, I believe, where Tobey Maguire, Peter Parker has always had like a kink in his back.
Oh yeah.
That he's never been able
Andrew
to. Yeah, he cracks his back. Because obviously, I mean, my thinking of that when I first thought of that, I'm like, why doesn't he just like go to a chiropractor or something? And then I'm like, oh, maybe it's because the chiropractor doesn't have super strength, so they can't properly like crack his back, or something. Is what I thought. Is because like why couldn't MJ just like walk on his back, or he could go to a doctor or something? But yeah, so he cracks his back. It's a really fun scene. And yeah, it was really fun, and then we get a cool shot where they're all like posed on like the top of the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, and they're all like zipping around together. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and then the fight starts, and they have a pretty cool fight. It's really fun. Each Spider-Man gets like a moment to shine, and they get to like swap between like which villains they get to fight. So it's not just Toby fighting Sandman and all that stuff. And we get the cool shot from the trailer that basically gave away that another Spider-Man was going to be in it, where they're like flying up at each other, and the lizard gets kicked by Andrew, and they're all just like flying towards each other. And it's a super cool scene, super cool thing. I'm sure it's a million people's like phone background now.
Oh sure, yeah.
Yeah, and it's I also forgot to mention during this fight. Or no, I didn't forget to mention, but there is a fun scene where because obviously Tom Holland's Spider-Man is used to working on a team, because he's an Avenger and he's done all these other like team ups and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And the other two Spider-Men are like, "Oh, we never have like people helping us," and like Tom Holland's like, "Oh, well, I'm used to working on a team. I was an Avenger," and like Andrew Garfield's like, "What is that?" And then Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is like, "How does this help us?" And then, yeah, basically from there, they decide to like start coordinating, and it works out a lot better. And they're able to cure everybody. They have like a bomb that turns Sandman into Flint Marko, just a normal dude. And they basically are able to get the Electro cure back on Electro, and they give the lizard I think it's like a gas that turns him back into like regular Dr. Connors. And then it's going good. We get a fun little chase scene where Ned needs to like use the sling ring, and like they're running through stuff, and the lizard's there, and they escape from the lizard and stuff. And then later on, we have the scene where because of all the hustle and bustle, MJ gets knocked off of the scaffolding, and this is the part where Green Goblin had shown up, and MJ falls, and Tom Spider-Man tries to catch her, but then like Green Goblin like intercepts him. So then Andrew Garfield Spider-Man gets to finally save a falling girl.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's really nice. And he has like his little moment afterwards where he's like, "Whoa, I needed that."
Yeah, he like tears up a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, he tears up. It's really cool. And then the best fight, in my opinion, is like the one here at the end where Tom Holland Spider-Man is fighting Green Goblin, and Tom Holland It's a thing in the comics. Where Spider-Man pulls his punches when he's fighting people because he doesn't want to like kill anybody. But now like Tom Holland Spider-Man, like he's going all out. He's like there's a like they're fighting each other. Like there's the choreography is super cool. Like at one point he like webs Goblin's like foot to the like ground that they're fighting on. He like goes for a punch, like a jump down ground pound punch thing, and like Goblin's able to move in time. And he just like dents the metal that they're fighting on.
Yeah, the finale's kind of all blurring together for me, but
it was really cool.
It was the perfect way to cap off the movie, and
we get Tom Holland being like angry boy. He tells Goblin, he's like, "Oh, I'm glad that I'm glad you didn't die or to send you back to die because I want to kill you myself." And Goblin's like, "I'm insane." And they have a sweet fight, and then they've got it where Tom is about to use the Green Goblin's glider because, of course, the Green Goblin's going to get stabbed by his own glider. And then
he just picks up the entire glider and is going to stab him.
He's just going to stab him like with the whole thing. And it would have been, obviously, superheroes usually don't, unless you're like the Punisher, or basically unless you're the Punisher, like the protagonist of Marvel and like comic book movies never gets to kill anybody. So, he ends up attempting to just absolutely murk the Green Goblin, and then Toby stops him and gets stabbed in the attempt, and there were dinguses in the theater who were like, "Oh my god, they killed him!"
No, not Toby.
No, they didn't. They didn't kill him. I knew for a fact he wasn't going to die. I love how they like just like talk it off later. Like Toby's just like, "Oh, I've been stabbed before. It's okay." But yeah, and then from there, like Tom cures the Goblin of the Mind Goblin, and yeah, now he's Norman Osborn, who's going to be sent back to his universe and hopefully won't die. And then we had also had it earlier where Green Goblin has destroyed the box containing the spell, so now like the multiverse is like opening up, and everybody who knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man from every like alternate universe ever is about to come through. So in order to save the day, Tom Holland Peter has to change this, or have Doctor Strange cast a new spell where everybody just forgets that Peter Parker exists, including like his friends and his loved ones and everybody he knows.
Yeah, some consequences for his actions.
Yeah, and so he has his little like goodbye with Ned and MJ, and he's like, "Oh, like I'll find you afterwards," and blah blah blah. I love you, and they have like the kiss on top as Ned just like stands there, and he's like, "Okay, bye." Obviously, it's far more dramatic than that, but yeah, essentially, the world will now forget, including Doctor Strange, will forget that Peter Parker exists,
or that he's Spider-Man.
No, just that he exists.
Oh, really? Oh, complete. Okay.
Yeah, that's why. So later, after everything, obviously, Aunt May is buried and Peter is visiting his grave. He has a conversation with Happy, who just doesn't know who he is.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then he also goes to visit MJ and Ned at like the.
Oh yeah, I like that her uniform is like the same. It's like, I think she works at Moondance Coffee, but they haven't showed it. But it looks like the Moondance Coffee uniform that MJ wears in the first two movies.
Yeah.
First movie. Anyway,
and it's really cool. Yeah, like they go to like the coffee shop where she works, and like they're MJ and Ned are like, "Oh my god, we're getting into MIT. It's lit. Thank goodness we don't know anyone named Peter Parker who would screw it up." And yeah, so
and then it kind of looks like Peter's about to like ask out MJ again or do something like that, and he's like, "Bye."
Yeah, well, because he doesn't want to like draw them back into his problems because it's Peter Parker, and yeah, and then from there we get that's basically it. Like the movie's done.
And I think there was a mid-credit scene. Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, the movie ends on like a really cool thing where Peter Parker has just gotten an apartment, and he's sewn his new Spider-Man costume together that looks like the classic Spider-Man costume. And now he's made his own costume because... And I didn't know this until I saw this on social media, I think. But the reason he couldn't use like the costumes that he had before is because since nobody remembers Peter Parker, the Stark suits wouldn't recognize that it's him. So...
so Doctor Strange's spell works on like technology and everything as well?
Yeah, the entire...
Like wipes out the internet?
The world itself, like, forgets that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Like, existence no longer recognizes...
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, so then he
I guess it makes more sense if you just make it a blanket thing for everything.
Yeah, just like that entire universe doesn't remember that Peter Parker exists. Obviously, he still does exist, and like he has like an ID and obviously like a social security card because he can get, an apartment.
Yeah, he's just not like famous anymore.
Yeah, he's Peter Parker from the comics basically, where he's a nobody.
And he is now a solo dolo.
Yeah, solo Spider-Man, and the last shot is him swinging around in his new costume, and it looks super cool. It's in wintertime. Spider-Man in wintertime is a thing that we don't get to see super often, so it was really cool to see it.
I did not notice that.
Yeah, it was wintertime. It also worked because obviously this movie came out December 17th, which is in wintertime, so... Yeah.
And there was no end credit sequence or scene. It was just a trailer for Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, well, there was the mid-credit scene where Eddie Brock, who at the end of Venom 2 was teleported to the MCU, and everyone thought that was going to be a big thing, and he was going to show up in No Way Home, and by God, I'm glad he didn't because Venom looks awful. And yeah, so from there we get
I've just seen the first Venom movie, but
it's like the end credit scene of Let There Be Carnage. Eddie is teleported for I don't know why. They basically explain that the symbiotes have like a hive mind and they know about like the other universes. So there's a symbiote in a universe, presumably Tobey's universe, that knows that Peter Parker's Spider-Man. So Eddie Brock is dragged on with the spell to the MCU universe, and before he can do anything and have any interactions, he's teleported back, but leaves behind a piece of the Venom symbiote. So I'm assuming in Spider-Man 3, the second, or Spider-Man, whatever the home
Spider-Man,
is,
Fourth Way Home.
Or like Sixth Way Home or whatever, because I would assume they would save it to the third movie of the next trilogy. He'll probably get the symbiotes again, or it'll do something else. I'm interested to see where it goes. And then, end credit scene is the trailer for Multiverse of Madness, which I really enjoyed. It looked pretty cool, and I loved the first Doctor Strange movie, so I hope I love the second one.
Super excited about it, so hopefully I'll be pleasantly surprised when I see it.
Nice. Yeah, so yeah, overall, this Spider-Man movie was great. It's kicked off a new Spider-Man hyperfixation for me. I was way back in like the back issues of the current run of the comics, so I went back and read those. I'm currently replaying Spider-Man PS4, beat Spider-Man Miles Morales on the PS4, so yeah, needless to say, this movie got me in the spider hype. And
I didn't get that effect from it, but I definitely just enjoyed it. That was a good movie, and definitely one for the collection, and it's going to make me... I feel like it definitely caps off the Home trilogy nicely.
Yeah.
Like, it makes me want to rewatch Homecoming and Far From Home, so that's a sign of a good third movie.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. I haven't went back and watched them yet. One of my friends was talking when we were out the other day of maybe just rewatching every Spider-Man movie, which would be kind of neat, because then I would see The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2.
You haven't seen that?
I have not.
So you had no context for those scenes.
No, I did. I've seen like clips and stuff. I know what happens in the movies, so...
Yeah, not the big... I don't think I've... No, I haven't seen the second one. I watched the first one. Not that great.
That's what I've heard. They are definitely not amazing.
All I gotta say is it takes 40 minutes in order to get any kind of Spider-Man.
Yep, that is also what I have seen, yeah. But yeah, overall, I will say No Way Home is now my favorite Marvel movie and favorite Spider-Man movie as well, so...
Whoa.
Yeah, one day we'll have to do some kind of like Marvel movie ranking list, but yeah, for now...
Definitely one for the collection for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably gonna have some really dope like steel books that come out for Blu-ray and stuff. So
It's a fun popcorn movie. You know, you can just go and just watch and just have fun. You don't gotta worry about anything. Think about like super big plot points. Movie keeps it pretty simple.
yeah, like we've mentioned, it's a comic book movie, and this is like I said, one of the best comic book movies that does a good job of feeling like a comic book. So
Yeah, I really liked it. I'm not sure what else I can add here.
yeah, me either. So I guess with that, we will leave you, and until we see you next time, hopefully, which will be soon. My schedule has changed, and now Keith's and I's days off line up a little bit better. So hopefully, we'll be having some more regular content coming at you.
Yep.
Yeah, but until then, I will see you later, and remember, if you've enjoyed this or any other videos that we have made, drop a like on this video and consider subscribing to the channel so you can see some more of our super awesome, great, and amazing videos.
Stick around and we'll catch you later.
Yeah, this is Cade from the Lore Council signing off.
This is Keith signing off.